Let's start with definitions. First we will see the definition of active voice. A verb is in the active voice when its form shows that the person or thing denoted by the subject does something. It means in active voice, subject is important. Let's see the definition of passive voice. A verb is in the passive voice when its form shows that something is done to the person or thing indicated by the subject. It means in passive voice, object is important. Okay. While turning any sentences from active to passive or passive to active, you need to do some changes in pronouns that we will see here. First person, active voice. If in active voice I or we is given, then you have to change it to me and us while doing passive voice. It means I becomes me and we become us. Second person. So if in active voice you is given as a subject, then while turning this active voice to passive, it becomes you. It means it will be the same in both singular and plural. Let's see third person active voice. If in third person active voice here he is given, then he changes to him in passive voice. She changes to her, it to it, and they to them. So all these things you have to learn by heart. First of all, we will see simple present tense including affirmative sentences, negative sentences and interrogative sentences. We'll start with affirmative sentences. Affirmative sentences means positive sentences. First example, I pluck roses. So, first of all, you must have subject and object both in sentences while turning any sentences from active to passive or passive to active. So, both are needed. First of all, you have to find out subject, verb and object from the given sentence. So, here I, that is the subject, pluck, that is verb, and roses, that is an object. Okay, what is subject? Subject means the person or thing that does the action, and object means the person or thing that receives the action, that is an object, and verb shows action or tense. After finding out subject, verb and object, you have to identify particular tense. For that you have to directly go to verb. So here V1 form is given. Why? Because pluck is given. That's why. So that is why this is the example of simple present tense. This way, these are the short tricks to find out active voice or passive voice and particular tense. That way you have to find out. Then if you don't find by or V3 form in any sentence, then that sentence is called active voice. Let's see how to change this active to passive. Okay, Here in active voice, subject, verb and object is given. So here in active voice, subject is important, while in passive voice, object is important. So here, what is the object in active voice? That becomes subject in passive voice. So here roses. So roses will come in the beginning and this becomes subject in passive voice. Then you have to use here the pluck. Go to verb form. Here pluck is given, so that is simple present tense. So when you find simple present tense, you have to use is, am or are according to the subject. Not according to active voice but according to passive. Right? Here object becomes subject in passive voice. So according to this subject, not this subject. So according to this subject, you have to put appropriate form of verb. So here roses, so plural form and simple present tense. That's why is, am or are. So here are is appropriate. So that auxiliary you have to put. That's why are is given. After that, V3 form of the main verb will come immediately after auxiliary verb. You can say or helping verb. Here V3 form will come. Pluck, that is V1 form, that is main form. And what is the V3 form of pluck? Pluck. That's why here V3 form is mentioned because we are framing passive voice. After that, you have to put by and I becomes or I changes to me, that we have already seen in our previous slide. So here me, that is an object. So this way you need to change from active to passive. Next example, the gardener waters the plants every day. Okay, so here find out subject, verb, object and extra information also. So here subject, the gardener, verb or main verb or V1 form. So that is waters, the plants, object and every day, that is called extra information. Okay, here now come to verb. So that is water. So this is the example of simple present tense. Okay. Now how will you identify the voice, active or passive? By is given? No. Then V3 form is given? No. So this is the example of active voice. Now we will see how to turn this active voice sentence into passive. Okay. Now, what is the object in active voice? Here, the plant. So, that will come in the beginning in passive voice. And this becomes the subject in passive voice. So, the plants, after that, plants are given. So, here, waters. Simple present tense. So, is, am or are according to the subject of passive voice. So, plants, plural form. That's why we have put here are. After that, water, that is V3 form of waters. That is simple present tense. Waters, that is V1 form. And what is the V3 form of water? Water. That's why V3 form is given. After that, by you have to write and the gardener will come here at the end. The gardener, that becomes an object, and after that you can write every day, means whatever extra information you get, that you have to write at the end. So this is passive voice. So plants, subject, are, that is auxiliary verb or you can say helping verb, plus you have to add V3 form in passive voice. By, then the gardener, that is an object, and every day, that is extra information. Another way you can write the same sentence this way. The plants are watered every day by the gardener. It means I have put this extra information in between the sentence. This way also you can write. Both sentences are correct. So you can choose any one. Next sentence. She eats an apple. So here find out. SVO means subject, verb, object. So she, subject, eats, verb, V1 form or you can say main verb. And apple, that is an object. This is the example of simple present tense. Why? Because in verb eats, that is given third person singular, she. That's why eats. That's why this is V1 form, and this is the example of simple present tense. How to identify active or passive? By is given? No. V3 form is given here? No. So that's why this is the example of active voice. Now we will see how to change this active voice to passive. Okay. Now object comes first in passive voice. So an apple will come in the beginning here. So an apple, then eats. That is verb. So what is the V3 form of eat? That is eaten. So an apple. After that you have to put appropriate auxiliary verb or helping verb. Is, am or are according to the subject of passive voice. So an apple is. Then V3 form of this eat. So eaten, then by, and she becomes her in passive voice. So that is an object. Next example. The teacher teaches us English daily. Now see here, you will get two objects here. Then what will you do? First of all, you have to find out subject, verb, object, extra information. That we have done. The teacher, that is subject, teaches, verb, us and English, both object. But us, that is indirect object, and English, that is direct object. And then daily, that is extra information. Okay. How to identify indirect object and direct object? Direct object means the person or thing that receives action directly. So that is called direct object. Here English, that is direct object, and us, that is indirect object. How to turn this kind of sentence into passive, that we will see. Okay, first of all we will turn this object. Here the teacher teaches us English daily. We will take this one, us. So us becomes we in passive. We, then according to we you have to put appropriate auxiliary verb or helping verb. So this is the example of simple present tense. Teaches is given. So here what will you write? We are. That is auxiliary form. Then teaches. So what is the V3 form of teach? Taught. So that is why taught is given V3 form. Then you have to write English. That is direct object. Here it will come. English, and then you have to add extra information. Daily by the teacher, or you can change the place. English by the teacher daily. Daily you can put at the end. Okay, this is the one way. Now I will show you another way. If you want to make passive with this direct object, what to do? So first of all you have to write down this one, direct object, in the beginning of passive voice. So first English will come. Okay. Now verb, simple present tense. So here according to subject you have to put auxiliary verb first of all. So after English you will put is, then V3 form of teach, taught. Then this is indirect object. That's why you have to put to before writing us. That's why I have put to us. Okay. After that you have to write a daily. It means that is extra information. And by the teacher. Here teacher, subject becomes object. This way, both ways are correct. So you can choose any. Let's learn voice in negative sentences. First example. She does not bring homework. Okay. So first of all, same formula you have to apply. First of all, find out subject, verb, object. So here she, subject, does, that is auxiliary verb or helping verb, not negative sentences. Here bring, that is V1 form, or you can say main verb. And here homework, that is an object. Now here find out which tense is given. So does is given. So this is the example of simple present tense. Okay, now find out which voice is this, active or passive. So by is given, no. V3 form is given, no. That's why this is active voice. Now let's see how to change from active to passive. Now homework. So object becomes subject in passive voice. So homework will come in the beginning. Then according to this subject, homework, you have to decide what will you put here, is, am or are. Because does is given, so simple present tense, that's why is, am or are. According to the subject, you have to put homework, is. So is appropriate. After that, we are framing negative sentence, that's why not is given. Then you have to write V3 form of the main verb bring. So what is the V3 form of bring? Brought. So here brought is written. Then by. After that she becomes her in passive. So here she is the subject in active, which becomes passive in active. And you have to change this she into her. So homework is not brought by her. This is passive voice. Next, we do not watch films. Okay, find out SVO, subject, verb, object. So we, subject, do, auxiliary verb, not is given because we are framing negative sentence. Watch, main verb, or you can say V1 form of the main verb. And then films, that is an object. Okay, after finding SVO, find out tense. Do is given, so it is very easy to say that this is the sentence from simple present tense. Okay, after that, active or passive, by is given, no. V3 form is given, no. That is why this is the sentence of active voice. Now, how to turn this active to passive? Okay, object becomes a subject in passive. So here, what is the object in active? Films. So that will be the subject in passive. So films, according to films, you have to put is, am or are. Why? Because do is given, simple present tense, that's why is, am or are. So according to subject in passive, that is films, so are will be there. Films are. Not is given because we are framing negative sentence. And then V3 form of the main verb watch. So V3, that is watched. Then by, and we becomes us in passive voice. So this way, films are not watched by us. This is the passive voice of this active. Next, pictures of animals are not drawn by them. Okay, find out SVO, subject, verb, object. Pictures of animals, subject, are auxiliary, or you can say helping verb. Not is given because we are framing negative sentence. Drawn, V3 form, by is given, and then that is an object. Here I have written passive voice. Why? Because V3 form and by is given. Now how to change from passive to active, that we will see here. Okay, after by what is given? Them. So that is an object of passive voice. Now while turning to active, this will be subject, means them becomes they. Okay, so they will come in active voice in the beginning. So they is written. After that, are not drawn by them. So auxiliary verb are. So this is the example of present tense. That's why you have to use do or does. Why? Because negative sentence. And in active voice. That's why we will use do. And this is third person plural. That's why do will come and not does. They do not. Negative sentence, that's why not. Then here V3 form is given. So turn into V1. So drawn becomes draw. V1 form, main form, base form. Okay. After that you have to write object, pictures of animals. Here it is subject in passive. that becomes object in active. So pictures of animals, that is object here in active voice. So they do not draw pictures of animals. Same formula you have to apply while turning from active to passive or passive to active. But you have to find out appropriate tense and V1 and V3 that you have to consider. Let's move to interrogative sentences. Okay, first, do you play chess? From this also you have to apply the same formula as VO. Do, that is auxiliary verb, you, subject, play, V1 form, chess, that is an object. And this is the example of active voice. And this is simple present tense is given. Why? Because do is given, that's why. Okay, you do you see here any by or V3 form? No, it is not given. That's why this is the sentence of active voice. Okay, now how to change this to passive, that we will see. See here, do is given. So we are sure that this sentence is given in simple present tense. That's why here we need to put is, am or are. But here, what is an object? Chess is given. So according to chess, you have to choose appropriate auxiliary verb. So here it is given is. Is, then you have to put this object will be subject in passive voice. So chess, then V3 form of the main verb. Play. So here played, V3 form. Then you have to add by and then you. You becomes you. Same, active and passive, both. You will be the same. So that's why here you is given and that is an object. Then you have to put question mark. So this is passive voice. Next example. Does she eat her meal? So here also find out subject verb object first. So here does, auxiliary, she, subject, eat, V1 form, her meal, object. Okay, this is the example of simple present tense. Why? Does is given, that's why. Okay, now active or passive, by is given? No. V3 form is given? No. So this sentence is given in active voice. Now we will turn this to passive. Okay, her meal, this is the object in active voice. Now turning to passive, object becomes subject. So here her meal, but here it is given in question form. That's why we have to put auxiliary first. So here her meal, according to her meal, is, am or are, is will come. So you have to start with is. Then her meal. Then V3 form of the main verb eat, that is eaten. Then add by and then she is given as subject in active voice. So this will change to her in passive voice. So here she becomes her. So by her, her that is an object. Then put question mark. So is her meal eaten by her? Question mark. So this is passive voice. Okay, next. Who drinks coffee? Okay, here also who, WH question is given, drinks, V1 form, and coffee, that is an object. Okay, is it passive or active? So this is active voice. Okay, and drinks, which tense? This is simple present tense. Now how to turn to passive? Okay, according to grammar rule, when you find who in active voice, when you change this active to passive, you have to write by whom. So that is WH question, by whom. Then you have to check object of active voice. Here coffee is given as an object, so that becomes a subject in passive. So according to this subject, you have to add appropriate auxiliary verb. So here by whom, then is, then you have to write coffee and V3 form of drink, that is drunk. So by whom is coffee drunk, then put question mark. This is passive voice. Next, why do you make noise? So here subject, verb, object. Why is given, WH. Do, auxiliary verb. You, subject. Make, V1 form. Noise, object. Okay. This is sentence is given in simple present tense. Why? Do is given. After that, active voice. By is given? No. V3 form is given? No. That's why active voice. After that, we will turn this to passive. Why? Same thing you have to write. After that, noise, that is object in active voice, becomes subject in passive. So before that we are doing interrogative formation. That's why before subject you have to add auxiliary verb. So noise. So that's why is will come. Why is noise? Then V1 form made. So you have to turn to V3 form. Made by you. You will be the same in passive. So why is noise made by you? Question mark. This is passive voice. Next, when is English learned by you? So this is passive voice. Why? By is given, V3 form is mentioned, that's why. So when, WH is auxiliary, English subject, learned, V3 form, by is added because passive voice, and you object. Okay. Now how to turn from this passive to active, that we will see. When, same you have to write. After that, find out object from the passive. So you, that will be subject in active. So before that you have to add appropriate auxiliary verb. Is, so simple present tense, that's why do or does will come. You is given second person, that's why do will come. So when do you, then V1 form will come here. Why? Because we are making active voice, so V3 form will not come. So here what is V1 form of learned? So learn. And then English. In passive voice, subject becomes object in active voice. So English will come. Then put question mark. So when do you learn English? This is active voice. Hope you understood well. Now we have to do exercise. Change the voice. Okay, 6 sentences are given. You have to change their voice. Now your time starts now. Hope you have completed. Let's check answers. First, mother prepares sweets. So answer would be sweets are prepared by mother. Check your answers. Second, the students read books in the library. Answer, books are read in the library by the students. Next, Kajal does not give gifts. Answer, gifts are not given by Kajal. Next, how does William Tell shoot the arrow? Answer, how is the arrow shot by William Tell? Next, what is eaten by the peacock? Answer is, what does the peacock eat? Question mark. Next, do they show children's films? Answer, are children's films shown by them? Question mark.